Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott, and it's always a special day to get a chance to read Joseph Murphy. Today we're talking about fulfilling your desires. Joseph Murphy is one of my very favorite New Thought teachers who taught about the subconscious mind and its power to create reality by using amazing affirmations and biblical teachings. Now, I'm sure that you have some deep desire, something that you want to experience or to have or own. And I want you to fulfill your desires. And here Joseph Murphy explains how to do just that. Fulfill your desires. God is forever seeking expression through you. God speaks to man through desire. And if you're sick, you desire health. If poor, you desire wealth. If in prison, you desire freedom. If lost in the jungle, you desire to find your way out and be secure. The realization of your desire is your savior. Everyone is his own savior, and every man answers his own prayer, because whatever he really believes comes to pass. You have a desire to grow, expand, unfold, and realize your heart's desire. You desire to be greater tomorrow than you are today. If you're a musician, you don't want to be a mediocre musician. You desire to excel so that your music may stir the souls of men and women. Scientists desire to know more of the secrets of the genetic code. Other scientists delve into the secrets of the atom. Their desire or hunger for more knowledge of cosmic laws and the secrets of the universe is continuing to bless mankind in countless ways. The urge to express is in everything, everywhere. Your innermost desire, your real innermost desire, is to find your true expression in life, where you are doing what you love to do, divinely happy and divinely prospered. You may do 6 things well, but there is one thing you can do better than the 6. That is your true place or true expression. Your higher self knows all your talents and will reveal to you the answer. Affirm, infinite intelligence within me reveals my true place in life, and I follow the lead which comes clearly into my conscious reasoning mind. The lead will come to you. Follow it. You desire to express yourself at your highest level and exercise your faculties at the highest degree. And you desire a marvelous and wonderful income consistent with integrity and honesty. Desire is natural and God-given. Some years ago, I was acquainted with a Spanish girl who was working in a department store. She told me in consultation that all she wanted to do with her life was to become a singer. She had a wonderful trained voice. She tried to get a contract to sing on television, radio, and nightclubs, but met repeatedly with rejection. She was very frustrated and all bottled up, in a manner of speaking. She understood that by repressing her desire to sing and go forward to new areas of living brought about ulcers in her system. So she changed her attitude, and her changed attitude changed everything. She turned within to her higher self and affirmed, "Infinite Spirit gave me this desire to sing and opens up the way for my perfect expression in divine law and order." She made sure that she did not subsequently deny what she affirmed. Shortly after her prayer process, she was invited to sing at a Spanish club, and a new career opened up for her almost immediately, with a greater income, greater prestige, and above all, she was expressing her real talent to the world. Self-preservation is the first law of life, which means that the first desire of life is to preserve itself and to expand along all lines. Your desire to be, to do, to have, and to express yourself in a wonderful way, living life to the fullest, is a powerful urge within you. There is the sex desire planted in you for the continuance of the race. Sex is a love act and must never be used to inflict harm or guilt on another. It must be based on mutual love, freedom, and respect. You can give all of your desires healthful expression. Desire is the gift of God. Desire is basic in life. It is impossible to get rid of desire. If you're hungry, you want food. If thirsty, you want water. A man asked the electrical wizard Thomas Edison, "Mr. Edison, what is electricity?" Edison said, "Electricity is, use it." You can use the power to bless mankind in countless ways. You can also use it to electrocute someone. You can thus use any power two ways. You never under any circumstances should desire another man's job, his wife, his home, or anything that is his. To covet or envy another is to attract loss, lack, and limitation to yourself. You impoverish yourself along all lines. You are saying to yourself, "He can have these things, but I can't." You are denying your own divinity. To steal from another mentally is to actually steal from yourself. The loss can come to you in many ways: loss of health, prestige, promotion, love, or money. The way loss comes is past finding out. You do not want the other fellow's position. You really want a position like it, giving you the same privileges, emoluments, salary, and prerequisites. Infinite intelligence can open a new door of expression for you if you call upon it. You will get an answer. In India and other places in the East, students are taught to suppress their desires. This is foolish and has disastrous consequences. One woman said to me that she wanted to reach the place where she did not want anything, and then she would be free. However, she was the most frustrated, neurotic woman I have ever met. In any ashram, I asked her, "Don't you desire a cup of coffee in the morning? If you're a musician, don't you desire to play music and lift others up? If you're a medical doctor, don't you desire to alleviate pain and suffering? If you're a farmer, don't you desire to plant and harvest and have food for your children?" His desire was to go to college. The young man was stealing money from his employer and was caught and discharged. He said to me later, by way of explanation, that he stole because he wanted to go to college. He had misdirected his desire. There was nothing wrong with the desire to go to college. I explained to him that God, who gave him the desire, does not mock him, and that he has the unqualified capacity to go to the God presence within and claim his good. I added that God, being the source of everything in the world, would somehow open up the way for him to complete his college course. I gave him a simple prayer as follows: God is the source of my supply, and God's wealth is circulating in my life. There is always a divine surplus. God opens up the way for me to enter college in divine order. I explained to him that his desire was good, but that he had misdirected it and misused the law of mind. You do not steal, rob, or injure another in order to get ahead. To do so is to attract all manner of loss and limitation to yourself. The mere fact that you steal indicates you are in a mood of lack, followed by a sense of guilt, all of which have destructive consequences. So he used the law constructively based on the above prayer, and the way opened up for him. He won a scholarship and found the source of all blessings. Reason things out. If you did not desire, you would not make any choices. However, you are a choosing volitional being. If you made no choices, you would not grow. You would not do anything. In everyday language, you would not exist. If you did not desire, nothing would rouse your interest. You would be dead to love, to peace, to laughter, and to motivation. You would shrivel up spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Actually, you would be a non-entity. Trying to suppress or eradicate a desire is a sort of spiritual suicide. Welcome the desires for health, happiness, peace, joy, and true expression. You are here to express all the qualities, attributes, and potencies of God. You are here to reveal more and more of your divinity every day. You are here to contribute to humanity, to put your shoulder to the wheel, and to make the world a better place to live in. You are here to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. There is an answer. Realize that desire is the motivating force behind all progress and advancement in science, art, industry, and in all phases of life. It is the moving principle behind all of your achievements. There is an answer for every true desire of the heart. There is a right way to fulfill your soul's sincere desire. You could not desire unless the answer to the desire existed. Realize that infinite spirit which gave you the desire will reveal to you the perfect plan for its unfoldment in divine law and order. Paul said, "For it is God which worketh in you both, to will and to do of his good pleasure. Philippians 2:13. You desire to excel and grow in wisdom. This desire is of God, the life principle working in and through you, urging you to climb the ladder of life and express yourself at higher levels. Do not repress desire. To do so is to repress the life principle itself. It is foolish to refuse to breathe air or drink water, since death would quickly follow. The Golden Rule. Every great religion down through countless ages has taught the Golden Rule, which means in a simple way that you wish health, happiness, peace, prosperity, and all the blessings of life for all people everywhere. You are here to serve and give of your talents and abilities to the world. The joy is in serving. As you serve others nobly, generously, and lovingly, your good will return to you 1,000-fold. Furthermore, you will receive honor, recognition, and wonderful financial rewards for work well done. Find a need in your location and fill it. The world will richly reward you. Wherever you are, and no matter what kind of work you are engaged in, you can help others to help themselves. You can always give a transfusion of faith and confidence to all those around you. You can give joy and gladness and exalt the divinity in all of your co-workers as well as all people everywhere. This attitude of mind will pay fabulous dividends. She found a need. Speaking in the St. Louis Church of Religious Science recently, a girl from Peru told me that she had come to St. Louis 3 years ago and was working as a translator in an office. She heard men and women frequently say that it would be wonderful to have a good Spanish restaurant nearby. Since she had had experience as a cook in Lima, Peru, she told some of the men that she could operate a restaurant and fill this need. 2 men in the organization decided to back her financially, and today she is a wonderful success. Mental and spiritual food is just as necessary as physical food. Food for the body is a prerequisite, as it is very difficult to convey the great truths of life to a hungry man. God's ideas enthroned in your mind and divine inspiration are just as essential as bread and meat. Furthermore, you have to love and be loved if you want to live life nobly. You are needed. Every person wants to feel needed and wanted and desires to achieve his true place in life. In other words, he wants his riches in life and all the necessary money to do what he wants to do, when he wants to do it. Money is a symbol of freedom, luxury, refinement, abundance, and security. Look to the source of all blessings and affirm from an infinite standpoint, God's wealth, spiritual, mental, material, and financial, is circulating in my life, and there is always a divine surplus. The infinite intelligence within you will respond according to the universal law of action and reaction. Each person is unique and wants to express himself at the highest level. To be successful in the art of living, contribute to the well-being and fulfillment of other people's desires and hopes. Then you will be prospered. Recall the old Hindu maxim, help thy brother's boat across, and lo, thine own hath reached the shore. The most worthwhile and truly successful person is the one who continuously aids and assists other people to achieve their heart's desires. The 2 brothers. 2 brothers went into business together and were doing fairly well for several years. Recently, they started to play the futures market and the commodity market and ended up losing everything, including all their business and savings. Actually, they owed $50,000, which they were unable to pay, and they went bankrupt. I talked with one brother who had a very good attitude. He said, I have lost money, I will make it again, and I will go into business again. I've learned a good lesson which will ultimately pay me dividends. I have not lost my faith, my confidence, or my ability to rise and grow. I have much to offer, and I'm going to be a tremendous success again. He went to work for a brokerage firm, and due to his large number of friends, he had no trouble acquiring new accounts for his employers. He also told me about his brother, whom he had tried to get to change his attitude. It seems that his brother felt humiliated and disgraced because he had lost everything. He started telling everyone he met about his losses and monotonously repeated the old refrain that it was his broker's fault, seeking justification for his own wrong decisions and errors. His friends began to shun him, and his health was adversely affected by his gloom and despondency. He refused counseling and went on welfare. Here you have 2 brothers who experienced the same loss. One reacted constructively and the other reacted negatively and with a complete sense of futility. It is not what happens to us individually that matters so much. It is our thought about it, our reaction, which can be constructive or negative. One brother used his imagination wisely, rebuilding in his mind a new pattern, seeing future possibilities, using the wings of faith and imagination for rebuilding a better life. He discovered that success and wealth were in his own mind. Creative imagination is a marvelous spiritual quality. All of the great discoveries and inventions in science, art, and industry came forth from men with disciplined imaginations. When the whole world said, "It can't be done," men with imagination said, "It is done." Primitive man, living in caves, was at the mercy of wild beasts, but a budding imagination enabled him to fashion certain clubs, stones, and other crude instruments which could kill the beasts which attacked him. The tremendous odds against primitive man forced him to imagine and create all kinds of crude weapons to protect himself. He created fire to warm him and cook his food, and eventually discovered the wheel, which has blessed mankind in countless ways. The dimensions of imagination are indeed boundless, infinite, and limitless. She wanted a home. A widow with a son 10 years old wanted a home near her work in the Newport area. She imagined that she was in the home, arranging the furniture and showing the yard to her boy. In her imagination, she saw the type of rooms she wanted, including a fireplace. In her imagination, she was often showing the house to her close friends. She acted as though she had the home, knowing that as the night follows the day, she would eventually have it. All of this was based on her belief that what things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Mark 11:24. A few months went by, and a young man in the office where she worked proposed to her. They got married, and the home he had was a replica of what she had been imagining and living in mentally for the previous 2 months. A home is a thought image in your mind. There is an easy way. There are many people who think the way to get ahead is to brush others aside, step over them, push, scramble, outsmart, and outdo the other. All of this is absolutely false. You may get ahead that way in a materialistic sense for a time, but the reaction can bring upon you serious penalties and tensions, conflicts, a sense of guilt, and ills of the body, as well as various other losses. To hurt another is to hurt yourself and attract loss, lack, limitation, and impoverishment to yourself. To envy others and seek to undermine them will cause you to find dross at the end, not gold. Develop a vivid imagination backed by faith in God. You will then move onward and upward and accomplish great things. Mussolini, Stalin, Hitler, and others used the creative power of imagination to destroy others. In doing so, they succeeded in destroying themselves. Years ago, I read the words uttered by the late King George of England. He quoted the poet who had said, "I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, 'Give me a light, that I may tread safely into the unknown.' And he replied, 'Go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That will be to you better than a light and safer than a known way.'" The light referred to is the supreme intelligence within you that knows all and sees all. As you turn to this indwelling light, it will turn to you and lead you to green pastures and still waters. His mental picture of his daughter. A physician's daughter was in the hospital, gravely ill. She was receiving expert medical care, but was not responding as she should. According to medical findings, I suggested to the doctor, her father, that he quiet his mind frequently during the day and imagine the love light in his daughter's eyes as he talked to her. She embraced him in his imagination with deep affection and kept saying to him, "Daddy, I am completely well. Take me home." He kept running this movie in his mind, and one of his conferees who was attending his child phoned him to say, "There has been a remarkable change and drop in temperature in your daughter. She is normal in every way. You can take her home." Her father truly experienced what formerly he imagined, he was hearing and experiencing. This was the constructive use of imagination and the natural response of life. You are always imagining. All men and women possess the faculty of imagination. It is the primal faculty within us. Imagine what is lovely and of good report. If your mother is in the hospital, imagine instead that she is at home, doing all the things she would normally do were she whole. Hear her tell you about the miraculous healing she has had. Make it real and vivid and rejoice in the reality of it. You will find that she will confirm your conviction of her. Many people are constantly reading murder stories, looking at horror movies, and dwelling upon the violence, viciousness, and depravity of murderers, rapists, and pornographers. Oftentimes, these people have frightful nightmares at night. When you find so-called gentle people absorbed in these murder mysteries and sordid movies, these experiences give them a sort of vicarious release of their inner hostility, suppressed rage and anger. This vicarious slaughter taking place in their minds brings about all manner of inner conflicts and physical disorders. These emotions are highly destructive. Instead, get a vision of loveliness that delights you, and you will have no room in your mind for such vicarious experiences in these morbid, gruesome, and depraved external movies. Why the speaker failed. A young man, a recent graduate from the ministerial school, experienced what he called stage fright. He was asked to substitute for another minister on a Sunday morning. He told me that he had a mental picture of defeat, failure, and humiliation. He stuttered, became tongue-tied at times, began to perspire, and even forgot what he wanted to say. These pictures were created by himself. The audience, however, was not hostile but friendly. He reversed the procedure and began to realize that the spirit in him was talking to the spirit in all the members of the congregation. He began to imagine a circle of light and love enfolding the audience. He affirmed, "God thinks, speaks, and acts through me, and I radiate love, peace, and goodwill to them." He imagined them smiling. In his mind, he heard many of them say, "That was a wonderful sermon." He imagined the members of the board congratulating him. He kept this up the following week. The following Sunday, he was warmly received and gave a splendid talk. He had used his imagination wisely. An old mystic legend. The ancient Bible writers wrote in allegories, fables, myths, parables, and fiction in order to portray great psychological and spiritual truths. I read the following story years ago, and I will condense it into everyday language. The old legend said that the gods had a secret conclave in heaven and decided that the hidden wisdom of the ages should be given to man, so he would for the first time know that the God which created all things and was all-powerful and all-wise was within himself the very reality of him. One of the younger gods pleaded with his elders that he be selected to impart and convey this wonderful message to mankind. He added that he did not care what the trials, difficulties, and tribulations might be, but that he would meet them and overcome. The other gods voted on it, and they gave him permission to take the priceless jewel of truth to mankind. He was overjoyed and ecstatic over this opportunity. On reaching the planet Earth, he stumbled, and the jewel of truth was broken and scattered into thousands and thousands of particles all over the Earth. This caused confusion on the planet Earth because forever after, when men found particles of this jewel, each one fancied that he alone had found the truth. The above story is about the essence of the old legend. Today, all over the world, we have countless creeds, dogmas, ceremonies, rituals, and sectarian groups, each proclaiming that they have the truth. No one has a monopoly on truth. God is the truth, the same yesterday, today, and forever. You cannot put a label on the truth. The ancients said, when you name it, you cannot find it, and when you find it, you cannot name it. The root of the word religion is to bind. What binds you is your real religion. Your dominant idea about God is your religion. Millions throughout the world are governed by fear. Others are governed by rank superstition. Your dominant idea or conviction controls all lesser thoughts, ideas, and opinions. True religion is to be bound back to God. Enthrone a God of love in your mind and let God's love govern all of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Let God be your guide, your counselor, your troubleshooter and way shower. Think, speak, and act from the divine center within you. And then you will find that His name is wonderful. Having God as your boss and your guide, you will find that all your ways are pleasantness and all your paths are peace. As usual, this particular Joseph Murphy lecture is profound and resonates deeply within me. This reminds me of his lecture, Realize Your Desires, which focused a little bit more on the desires themselves, but we can take a lot from this. Many times I have seen the story of the two brothers. I have seen it many, many times. And it really shows the power of the imagination. It does not matter what your situation is, what has happened to you, where you're at, where you live, whatever that is. You can have two brothers that are growing up in an outhouse. That's literally where they live. They have a little outhouse, and one of them is positive about the future, and one of them is oh so negative about the outhouse that they live on. And each day they go to their outhouse, and one is inspired to change the future and sees great things in their future, and one doesn't. And the one that is inspired goes on to do great things, and the other brother doesn't. I've seen this where there's one brother that's a millionaire and another one that's in prison. And the story that he gives is exactly that. Two brothers lose $50,000. One says, hey, no big deal. I've lost money before and I'll lose it again, but I learned something and it's fantastic. And his other brother complains about the broker and blames everyone else and continues to exist in that impoverished state. It's how you react to the world. If something bad has happened to you, you've lost your house, you've lost your partner, you've lost your dog, whatever it is, something bad will always happen to us at some point in time. And it's really about how you react to that. Of course, it can be tragic and it can be terrible. But if you dwell on it and you make it your identity, if you have some terrible trauma and you literally constantly think and talk about that trauma all the time, then you're bringing about the frequency and energy of that trauma or whatever it is. So your reaction is critical and important to the world that you live in and your life. But desire by itself is a natural, God-given thing. And it's good to remind yourself that this desire is within me for a reason. That if I have this desire, that means that I can have this desire fulfilled. So you may desire something and there's a part of you that has blocked it or thinks that it's unlikely or impossible. And you must understand there is nothing impossible to you. And if you are desiring it, that means it's a reality. In some other parallel reality, this is something that's possible. It's something that can happen. There is a reason that you have this desire. I would bring you back to the golden rule. When he talks about the golden rule, he is giving the secret, the key. You are here to serve and give of your talents and abilities to the world. And the joy is in serving. As you serve others nobly, generously, and lovingly, your good will return to you 1,000-fold, and you will receive honor and recognition and wonderful financial rewards for work well done. Find a need in your location where you are and fill it. Those are the words of Joseph Murphy. That's the recommendation of myself. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in others that I've coached. I've seen it in my friends. If you can just step outside of yourself for a minute and start to really see how you can serve others, there's such amazing joy that can come in this, and it will change what you desire. Suddenly you will have a great desire to serve even more because this joy is so overwhelming and wonderful. You are needed. Everybody wants to feel needed and wanted and desires to achieve their true place in life. And when you act in service, you find out that you are needed. Money's just a symbol of freedom and luxury. The source of all blessings goes beyond just money. God's wealth and spiritual and material and financial is circulating everywhere in your life. You're experiencing this divine surplus. We got to talk about what he says at the end about watching murder mysteries and horror films. Oh my gosh, I thought he was talking to me because I love horror films. And I love watching action films and watching murder mysteries and documentaries. I have been concerned about how creative it is, or when I watch it, I might have nightmares later. Perhaps this is a misuse of your imagination. I've been able to separate that stuff to some extent. But these emotions can be destructive. Can also be a release, and I think that there is an argument for the joy of watching a horror film. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to stop watching horror films. I have cut back on them, and I try to keep the content of the movies I watch to be positive. But I would love to get your opinions on it. Should we stop watching horror films? Should we stop watching murder mysteries? Is that something that can be creative? It's an open question, and generally I trust what Joseph Murphy says, and I will have to go back and reevaluate once again what I watch, because I love to watch stuff like that. It hasn't been entirely creative in my life, but I need to go back and evaluate whether it has had an effect, because oftentimes it's true. I mean, this is what I teach. What I see is creative. But the bottom line is, whatever you're desiring right now, if there's some part of you that's saying it's impossible, that it can't be done, that you can't accomplish this, if you're ashamed of it, or you feel guilty for it, or you think it's greedy, let that go. Because that desire is a real thing. Embrace it and understand that you have the divine power within you to see that desire fulfilled. And make today the day you begin to do that. Imagine lovingly with disciplined imagination for the thing that you want, and it will happen in your world, just as Joseph Murphy tells us repeatedly. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com, and welcome to The Reality Revolution.